Hey Seahawks Nation! Today's talk is serious but packed with emotion because what just happened in Seattle hit everyone hard. It was an electrifying game, full of twists and turns, one that could have ended completely differently if not for a few painful details. The truth is that 38-35 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was one of those games that keeps replaying in your mind. Not just because of how it ended, but because of what it revealed about where this team really stands at this point in the season. The offense showed plenty of firepower, the fight was there until the final second, but the defense, which had been one of Seattle's biggest strengths, just couldn't hold up. And the reason for that goes way beyond the scoreboard. Today, I'll break down what really happened behind this drop in performance, what head coach Mike Macdonald said after the game, and how it could redefine the Seahawks' path moving forward. Stick around, because there's also a bombshell about a possible market move that could transform Seattle's offense with the arrival of a major name. So hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because today's video is one you don't want to miss. Seattle took the field against Tampa Bay knowing it was facing a huge challenge. The plan was simple: control the clock, force mistakes, and maintain the balance that had defined this team early in the season. But what unfolded was a series of brutal blows that left the defense completely unbalanced. Within minutes, the injury list grew alarmingly. Without Devin Witherspoon, Julian Love, DeMarcus Lawrence, and with Derek Hall leaving early due to an abdominal injury, it was clear the defense was in for a long night. To make matters worse, Rick Woolen, one of the secondary's cornerstones, suffered a concussion and had to leave the game. In that kind of scenario, it's hard to imagine any defense staying intact. By the end, Seattle had just 6 healthy defensive backs, and that was against one of the league's most efficient offenses. The result was inevitable: 426 total yards allowed, 370 of them through the air. It was the worst mark of the Mike Macdonald era, and only the second time in 22 games that Seattle gave up more than 20 points. What stood out most, though, was how Macdonald reacted. In his post-game presser, he didn't dodge responsibility. Calm but visibly frustrated, he said the loss was on him. "This one's on me," he admitted. "The guys fought their hearts out, but I've got to be better with the game plan and the play calling. When we have a performance like this, it means I didn't prepare them the right way." It sounded like he was shielding his players, a real sign of leadership that shows the kind of coach Seattle has. Even amid so many injuries, he stood in the storm without excuses. And for anyone who follows the NFL closely, that says a lot about his character. Still, it's impossible to ignore the impact of the injuries. Up to that point, Seattle's defense had been one of the league's best, ranking top 2 in both pass rush win rate and run stop win rate, according to ESPN. It was a disciplined, physical, and versatile group with a clear identity. But without half of its starters, communication broke down, pre-snap adjustments got messy, and gaps started opening up. The Buccaneers took advantage of every one of them: quick passes, intermediate routes, and heavy play action, exactly the kind of mix that wears down a battered defense. Even so, the team fought until the end and had the ball in its hands with a chance to win it. Sam Darnold led a promising drive, but a costly turnover sealed the Seahawks' fate. A brutal ending, especially since the offense had done its part. What's interesting is that despite the loss, there's no sense of panic around the team. And that's because this was the defense's first real stumble of the season. Macdonald made it clear that the performance didn't reflect the true identity of the group and that this game should be viewed as an outlier. "It hurts, and it should hurt, because these guys work hard and care," he said. "But we'll use this to move forward." That line summed up the team's spirit: own the failure, then turn it into fuel. And fans know that when this group is healthy, its ceiling is sky high. The big question now is how long it'll take for those key players to return. Witherspoon and Love are still in recovery. Hall will undergo more tests on his abdomen, and Woolen has to clear the concussion protocol. Until then, the coaching staff will have to get creative, or maybe even bring in reinforcements. And that's exactly where the second part of the story begins. Because while the defense exposed its physical limits, the offense might be about to get a major boost. Over the past few hours, a new rumor has been circulating among NFL insiders. The Seahawks could be exploring a potential trade with the Baltimore Ravens for tight end Mark Andrews. That's right, the three-time Pro Bowler might be on Seattle's radar. His name appeared in a Sports Illustrated piece by Matt Verderame and Gilberto Manzano, which predicted one trade scenario for each franchise before the deadline. And the proposed deal is tempting. The Ravens would send Andrews to Seattle in exchange for a 6th-round pick. If that offer is even remotely real, it's the kind of move that's almost impossible to pass up. Andrews is the type of player who instantly changes an offense's dynamic. At 30 years old and still producing at a high level, he'd be the perfect complement to a quarterback like Sam Darnold, especially in the red zone and on third downs. Just 2 weeks ago, he put up a dominant performance against the Lions, 6 catches, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That tells you the tank's still full. In 2024, he finished with 11 touchdowns and remains one of the most reliable and intelligent tight ends in the league. Picture a trio of Andrews, A.J. Barner, and rookie Elijah Arroyo. That's a balanced and dangerous unit. Barner has shown flashes with 2 early season touchdowns but is still developing. Arroyo has talent but needs time and a mentor, and there's no one better than Andrews for that. The timing makes sense, too. The Ravens are sitting at 1-4 and dealing with serious injury issues. Andrews is in the final year of his contract and could hit free agency after the season. In that context, the trade would be a smart play for both sides. Baltimore gets something before losing him for nothing, and Seattle adds an elite weapon at a bargain price. It's the kind of move general manager John Schneider loves: high value, low cost. More than that, it shows ambition. It shows Seattle believes it can make a real run this year and is willing to act on it. Fans who watch the offense fight to the end against Tampa Bay know that just one more piece could make all the difference. But would Baltimore really let Andrews go? All signs point to yes, if their season keeps going downhill and they decide to reshape the roster. Andrews is a leader, but at 30 and heading into free agency, this could be the right time for a change of scenery. For Seattle, it would be a rare chance to add experience, leadership, and instant production without sacrificing the future. And you can easily imagine how much Darnold would benefit from a target of that caliber, a dependable, savvy route runner who knows how to find soft spots in coverage and deliver in clutch moments. On top of that, Andrews' presence would take pressure off the wide receivers and open up new play-calling possibilities for the offensive coordinator. Let's be honest, this is the kind of addition that energizes not just the locker room, but the entire fan base. At the end of the day, the picture is clear. Seattle is going through a test, but also an opportunity. The loss to the Buccaneers exposed some weaknesses but didn't break the team's confidence. The injuries hurt, but they didn't kill the spirit. Meanwhile, the front office is actively looking for ways to strengthen a roster that, when healthy, can compete with anyone in the league. Bringing in Mark Andrews would signal that the Seahawks aren't just reacting, they're thinking ahead. They're targeting the playoffs and finding ways to make the offense as dangerous as the defense has been. It's a sign that the franchise is alive, ambitious, and aware of what needs to be done. In the end, yeah, that loss stung. It hurt because the team fought hard, came close, and saw a victory slip away by inches. It hurt because the defense, so praised, had its toughest night. But it also served as a reminder of how resilient this group is. And if the front office really manages to bring in Mark Andrews, that pain could turn into fuel for a massive turnaround. The season is far from over, and Seattle's got the talent, leadership, and fan base to flip the script. Now, I want to hear from you 12s. Which part hit you harder, the defensive frustration, or the excitement about the possible Andrews trade? Do you think that move would make Seattle a legit playoff contender? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every one. And of course, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss a single update, because more big news is coming. Let's show the strength of the 12s. Go Hawks!